Productivity. It's one of those buzzwords in the business world. We all want to be more productive. Got to be more productive. What does it even mean? What does it mean to truly be productive? We're going to explore the meaning of that word, what it is, what it isn't, and what our relationship is with our productivity on today's One Simple Thing.
It's time to build a better business by building a better you. This is One Simple Thing.
Welcome to the show. Dave Kirby here with you. Glad to have you alongside here as well. We get together again for episode 330 of the One Simple Thing podcast. If you have not subscribed, maybe you just found us through Twitter or whatever, and you're listening to this episode, would encourage you to subscribe. We have new episodes 5 days a week. They're only about 15, 20 minutes long, so they make a great listen on your commute. And hopefully you'll get something of value each and every day. Been talking over the last several episodes with Erik Fisher, who is author of the book, Hit the Mark, Improve Your Focus, Boost Your Energy, and Make the Most of Your Time. We have a link to his Amazon page where you can pick up a copy of that book. Also, Erik's podcast is called Beyond the To-Do List, one of my favorites. You could check that out on iTunes as well. Would certainly recommend that you subscribe to that podcast. Today, I'm going to kind of look back over what Erik and I have talked about over the last few episodes. And if you want to listen to those conversations, Erik's had some really great practical tips on how you can increase your focus and your productivity. So go back and listen to episodes 326 through 329. But today, I kind of want to just look at that term, productivity. What does it mean to be productive? Well, the root word, I guess, would be produce, right? So to be productive means we produce. Productive people get stuff done. When it comes right down to it, that's what it means to be productive. The challenge for most of us is how do we get more done in the time that is allotted to us, right? Because time is a finite resource. You can create more of anything else you want in this world. More money, more friends, more customers. You can even blow those things, right? You can make $1 million, you can lose it all, and you can make it again. But you can never create one more minute of time. It's by far our most valuable resource. Time is a finite thing, and you cannot create more of it. So if time is limited, and our challenge is to get more stuff done in that limited time, that finite amount of time that's available to us, and since we can't change time, then we only have one option, and that's to change our relationship with time. You can't change time, so I have to change me. So what does it mean to change our relationship with time? Let me start with a few things that it isn't. Multitasking. It sounds counterintuitive, but multitasking is actually reducing my productivity, right? You'd think because I'm doing two things at once, I'm getting twice as much done, but it actually reduces our productivity. Think about it. Getting 50% of two tasks done in a minute is not the same as getting 100% of one task done during that same minute, right? So to be the most productive, I've also got to be the most focused. And that's why Erik Fisher on the programs over the last several episodes has been talking so much about focus, right? Because if you don't stay focused in, then you dilute your own effectiveness. You dilute your own productivity. So multitasking is definitely not a good relationship with time. Neither is not taking time to rest. Again, it seems kind of counterintuitive, right? If I'm going to get more done, I got to burn the candle on both ends. Here's the problem with that. It depletes our energy, which causes us to get less done. Have you ever noticed when you haven't slept or you're really exhausted, you just don't feel like getting much done? And when I'm super tired, I'm totally unmotivated, right? You probably are too, as you look at your own life. You know, it's just when we're exhausted, we just don't feel like doing anything. And that's, again, that's counterintuitive to what we think would happen. So not taking time to rest actually is an enemy of our time. Like I just said, if you're operating at 100% of capacity for 10 minutes, you're getting as much done as someone who's operating at 50% capacity for 20 minutes. Would that make sense? I guess if you do the math, I don't know, maybe there's some weird mathematical or algebraic equation that would prove that wrong. But it just seems to me that if I'm working at 100% capacity for 10 minutes, that's the same as me doing half the work for twice the time. Does that make sense? That doesn't take into account the difference in quality of work for those who are tired or distracted, right? So if you're working tired and it's taking you twice as long, you're losing time. If I'm working at 100%, it's only taking me 10 minutes. What's taking you 20 minutes to do? Then I've just saved 10 minutes of time. Does that make sense? Working at 100% capacity, it frees up more time to get other things done. What's another of our enemies of time management? It's becoming tunnel visioned. I went through a period of time where I was really committed to not wasting 1 minute of my time. And I ruled a lot of things out of my world. Some that were beneficial to me, right? My eagerness not to waste time. I forgot some things that were really important, like rest. We've already talked about it. Rest is important. It's not a waste of time to rest. It's absolutely essential to being the best I can be. Family is not a waste of time. Spending time hanging out with my wife, even if it's not something that I consider quote unquote productive, right? It is productive because it's in my best interest to be in a good relationship, be in a good place with my wife, my kids, my family. How about downtime? Some people would say, no, downtime is unproductive time. I beg to differ with you. I think downtime, rest time, they are our most productive times. Why? Because they make everything else we do possible. Planning, that's not a counterproductive activity. It is one of our most productive activities because when we planned, we're able to execute on a much more efficient basis, right? So again, it's that time paradox. The things I might do to try and suck more time are usually the things that actually make me less productive. What's the first thing to go when I'm busy? It's sleep. What's the first thing to go when I'm busy and stressed? It's rest, right? It's time with my family. Those things get sacrificed in exchange for what I think is more important, are going to make me more productive, but actually it's making me less productive, right? So it's all about this relationship we have with time. And really when it comes down to it, it's a relationship that I have with myself. So if you don't hear anything else on this episode, I want you to hear this sentence. Ready? There is no greater time management technique than to be a healthy, well-balanced, emotionally intelligent person. Let me say that again. There is no greater time management technique than to be a healthy, well-balanced, emotionally intelligent person. We can talk about time management techniques we all we want. In fact, as I was preparing for this episode, I went and looked up time management or whatever, and they're listing all these things out. Certain things tricks you can do with your schedule, and we got to schedule time in for this and that and the other thing. None of that matters if you're depressed. None of that matters if you're so burned out you can't take another step. None of those strategies matter if we don't have our own self together. If we're not healthy, if we're not well-balanced, if we don't have a passion and a verve for life or a juice for life, none of those techniques are really going to matter when it comes to managing time. So most of what we do to waste our time, things like social media or vegging out in front of the TV, et cetera, they're all symptoms of a deeper problem. If you want to be more productive, take care of the disease and not the symptoms. Don't beat yourself up for being on Facebook too much. Get to the root of why you're on Facebook so much. Are you depressed? Are you lonely? Are you tired and burned out? I don't know. And we could talk about those systems of time management as much as we want, but if you're tired or you're burned out or you're in a bad toxic relationship that's got you stressed out, or you're depressed or grieving or angry or whatever, your relationship with time suffers. Instead of sucking every ounce of energy and life out of every moment we have, you find yourself just killing time. Think about that phrase for a minute. Killing time. Could there be a more unproductive phrase on the planet? Killing time is the enemy of productivity. So what do you do about it? Well, first of all, I would start by taking a minute. Think about your biggest time and productivity problem. Maybe it's too much time on social media. You waste too much time. Maybe it's constant distractions. Maybe it's taking on more than you could possibly get done. Maybe it's procrastination. I don't know what the issue is for you. But again, those are symptom issues, right? They're ways of us dealing with things, trying to get what we really want. So as you identify that big weak spot for you, whether it's procrastination or whatever it is, okay, once you've identified that problem, then ask yourself this question: why? That's pretty much it. This time problem is a symptom. So what's the disease? What's the underlying problem that's causing you to waste your time or be unproductive? Example, maybe you say your biggest time problem is constant distractions. People, phone calls, emails, etc. You just keep getting interrupted over and over again. Well, why do you allow it? Why do you feel the need to be constantly available? Are you a people pleaser? Are you afraid people will be mad at you if you're not totally available at all times? You kind of see what I'm getting at here. Maybe your biggest problem is procrastination. Could you be a perfectionist? Maybe you don't start things because you're afraid it won't be perfect. Maybe you're somebody who gets overwhelmed easily, and that big task needs to be broken down into smaller parts. We got to get to the why. Maybe your biggest productivity problem is taking on too much. Why do you do that? Is there an insecurity that has you constantly trying to prove yourself? Maybe you take on too much because of money, right? Maybe you got to take on all the work you can get because you need the money. I don't know. Maybe your biggest problem is wasted time on social media or TV or surfing the web. So ask yourself, am I burned out? Am I bored with my work? I'm just not challenged by it, or I'm not passionate? Am I tired or unhealthy? All of those things can create situations where we turn to the symptoms. But the real disease is where we're going to find the healing, where we're going to find the correction in course. Get to the underlying cause, deal with it, and then watch that swell of passion and productivity that will flow in to fill that void. Erik Fisher, who was our guest on episodes 326 through 29, used a phrase on episode 327. Relative time was the phrase he used. It's the fact that time passes slower or faster based on the level of passion that you're bringing to the task, right? If you're playing with your grandchild, it goes super fast. And what do we say? Time flies, right? If it's something that's boring or monotonous or tedious or something we just hate doing, then maybe it's taxes. I don't know. Then time seems to go much more slowly. It drags, right? At least in perception. We know that time is finite and it doesn't change, but our perception of it does. So as we bring this episode to a close, I want you to think about the two phrases I've used today. Number one, time flies. When I hear the phrase time flies, it sounds like it's soaring, right? It flies like a bird, like an eagle. My time is soaring. Why? Because I'm passionate about what I'm doing. When time flies, I'm passionate about it, and my life is soaring up on high. The other phrase, killing time. What do we end up doing when we're unmotivated, when we're unpassionate? We wind up killing time, watching TV, surfing the net, social media, whatever it is. So when we bring passion and energy to our work, time flies. When we bring exhaustion or unhealthy habits, bad relationships, boredom, burnout, whatever, we end up killing time. And time is definitely something that you don't want to be an enemy of. You don't want time to be your enemy because we all just get a certain amount of it, and we can't get it back once it's gone. Hopefully it's been an encouragement to you today to listen. I know I've kind of taken the negative approach about what time and our relationship with time is not, but I think it's important for us to uncover those things that are the enemy of us making the most out of our time, and instead point ourselves towards the things that can be most effective in taking advantage of the time that's allotted to us. So again, thank you for listening today. Dave Kirby here with the One Simple Thing podcast. If you'd like to contact me, would love to talk with you. You can shoot me an email. It's dave@onesimplethingonline.com. That's with the number 1, dave@onesimplethingonline.com. You can also leave a comment on the website. Just go to the show notes for episode 330 at onesimplethingonline.com. And again, look for, on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see Erik Fisher's banner ad. You want to click on that. It'll take you to Amazon.com, where you can pick up your copy of Erik Fisher's book, which is called Hit the Mark, Improve Your Focus, Boost Your Energy, and Make the Most of Your Time. As we've talked philosophically today about our relationship with time, Erik gets into some very practical ways that we can heal that relationship with time and make it the most it can be. So make sure you check out his book. Thank you for listening again today. If you wouldn't mind, go to iTunes or Stitcher, leave us a rating and review. That will help others discover the program And that's what it's all about. Again, so thank you for listening. I'm Dave Kirby. I'll see you next time on the next episode of the One Simple Thing podcast.